Just two things. One thing, impression that I got out of the trip was I learned more how to pray more effectively for the ministry down there. Um, One thing that the school that they do the tutoring in, the public school, Rhonda, you know that is not ideal teaching situation. There's above the doors, there's open grates, so there's always a lot of noise. They had desks, but that's about all they had. A bucket in the corner with a mop, maybe. Um, and the backgrounds the kids are coming from are not ideal. So I learned how to pray for those teachers, but things have improved since Leslie and Osman and their volunteers, or they're not all volunteers, they're paid a stipend. Tutors have started tutoring some of the behind kids. The whole atmosphere has changed for a little bit for the better for the teachers. The 4-H clubs they do. That WGM property is 6-7 acres with a lot of buildings on it, and kids come in and run all over, and to supervise that many kids, they could be anywhere. It's amazing, but that's another way to pray for them to be able to keep things under control and enough volunteers to keep track of things. And then the other thing is, I don't completely understand this, but the generational chains of alcoholism, I suppose, abuse, broken families, and one thing Leslie said, hope. Most kids are not under the impression that there can be a difference, that this is life, this is how it's going to be. There's nothing they can do. So they want to bring hope through Jesus, but just through example. And they are allowed, when they tutor with the public school, they teach with the Bible. They bring the gospel into the 4-H clubs. It's a part of everything they do. The sewing class they graduated. Now they're going to do a different kind of community class, but there's 8 or 10 women, 8, that now have a way to make a living for their family. And they also learned about Jesus. This week, I think they're starting another Work for a Living course. It's a 2-week course. It teaches them how to be a good employee, work ethics, how to interview. But they also learn, and I think every class they've had so far, 3 or 4 classes, they've had at least one, I think 2, have asked Jesus to be their Savior in those classes. They also started the apprentice program for the few kids that, when they're done with 9th grade, they're done. And then what are they going to do? They don't have life skills. The games are right there waiting. But there are a few that want to go on, and they have to travel to their city, so they need money to get there. So they have an apprentice program where they pay the kids a small amount to help with chores at the center. And then I don't know for sure how many are going on to school, but it all adds to hope. We here at Echo are a very major foundational part of all that work there. Each one of you, your prayers, your support. It wasn't until Leslie and Osman were not able to earn the support, to raise the support to be full-time missionaries, until we met them, invited them to come and stay with us and speak in churches, and they had an opportunity to raise funds. And Leslie I said that before, but she emphasized it this time, that was the start. So each one of you, and I especially feel very unworthy to be used by God that way, changing lives in Honduras, but each one of you, and it all goes back to Robert's connection to Honduras. And then El Pinar also, I did not realize this, but they work so hard up there. They do. They work so hard. They are changing lives up there. Again, the generational chains. But majority of that work, I guess, has been due to our involvement. I feel like there's been other teams or people involved, but Leslie said we're pretty much the only ones that go up there and come alongside them. And when I looked around at the things that have been accomplished since 4 years ago, we're a part of all that, every one of you. So I thank you for that. Sorry, I'm not really good at this, but I feel like it needs to be said. I have notes, but sometimes I ignore them. What I came away with that was they worked so hard. Leslie and Osmond, they're so busy. And up at El Pinar, they work so hard. And I came away determined that I need to work just as hard here. There are just as many people here that need Jesus, that maybe believe in God, but they don't know that how God can change their lives. And so, sorry, but I'm praying for God to reveal more ways we can reach out, more ways we can get the people of this community, as surrounding communities, and I'm praying for God to reveal something to somebody here for an idea. So if you get struck with something, it's probably my fault. Sorry. I guess that's, did that picture, Pastor? Yeah, I had other pictures. I just wanted to show you some of the faces of the children. Also about the generational change. We saw it. I think Gideon and Martha even saw it. Even the little bittiest kids, the first reaction is kind of violence. I mean, that's what they're used to. And so that's another generational change. But I did want to show this one on their way down the mountain the last day. And we went past a lot of people out in the clouds, mist, going early in the morning to pick coffee beans, and then we followed this truck for quite a ways because we couldn't get around it. And if you see that little bitty boy in the corner, missing school to pick coffee beans, I don't know, I thought it was a good representation of what life there is like. I guess that's it, except I do want to thank my prayer partners that I asked to pray. Joyce and Holly and Robert and Linda and Jennifer and Mallory and Ellery, and I wasn't going to share this, but one of the things I asked for prayer was for no physical issues on airplanes. I get motion sickness. I do everything. I have C-bands, I have cinnamon oil, I take Dramamine. I now even added some ginger chews. The very first flight taking off, and I've never had it happen that way, I knew right away I was sick. And so the whole time, I'm hanging over a bag, never could quite throw up, knowing that I have 30 minutes between flights to get back on a plane, and I was completely determined. I was staying in Chicago. I could not get back on a plane. I was so sick. So I know there are people praying for me, and Rhonda prayed for me, and it's never happened before. When I do get motion sickness, it usually takes at least 3-4 hours to feel better. We got on that plane, we had to sit in the runway for a little bit, and I realized I'm starting to feel better. I'm starting to feel better. And I never got sick again. And I think, to me, I know if it's not your thing, but I know that was God, an answer to prayer. So thank you, prayer partners.